Latin 3? So, no, you're Latin 2. So here we are, chapter 34. I want to actually take a look at the glossary in the beginning of the chapter on page 61 because there's several words that they give you in parentheses that will come up in the story. So, first one is cena. Obviously, you know that is dinner. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's hard to see cena sometimes. Sometimes you can't see it. The next word is pokulum, which we saw in the previous chapter. Okay, so these are drinking cups, goblets, that kind of thing. Then you get to merum. Merum meri. Now, merum is undiluted wine. And what it was that the Romans would make a wine concentrate, a wine mixture. So, I mean, you have to cut it with water. Otherwise, you're getting really sloshed really quick. It's like thick, syrupy, undiluted wine. I mean, it's really... If you've ever worked in fast food, you know the thing that they use to go into the fountain sodas. The syrup that they use for that, like think of that as merum. So you don't drink wine that's merum. You dilute it with water. And various guests would ask for, oh, give me 2 measures of water, 1 measure of merum, that kind of thing. Next one, they talk about Secunda Mensai. This is the second course. This is dessert. Okay. Then you get to the drinking party, the commissatio, which is the name of this chapter. And this is basically several words put together, but it's mito mitra with con in front, right? So it's commissatio, right? People sent together. In other words, a party. So this is the drinking party afterward. So the everybody would be together, and then the women would go off to one area, and because all the Roman authors that we have are all men, they didn't actually know what the women did. But they would write about the drinking party of the men. If you ever watched Titanic, you see this happen after dinner. They're going for brandy and cigars. The next word is coronae. Okay, singular is corona. Pretty fitting. It's a garland. Okay, it's a thing that goes around something. And so, yeah, they would very often wear garlands like a lei or a small crown around the noggin, and it would be with different kinds of flowers, right? So flos floris, which I believe is masculine, gets us to flores, right? This is where we get Florida, quite honestly, speaking of corona, but also floral and stuff like that. So flos floris is the singular. And then parsley is apium, apii. Okay, this is parsley. It smells better. And then hedera. Hedera is ivy. Okay, hederae. Then they would often break out the perfumes. A nice, essential oils party, essentially. Unguentum, unguenti. So the plural of this is unguenta. Okay. And it's perfumes, oils, things you smear. And then they talk about the commissatio again, right? And then the master of drinking is called the arbiter bibendi. And arbiter, obviously, is where you get arbitration, arbitrate, arbitrary. And then bibendi comes from the verb bibo bibera, which is to drink. The next word is knuckle bones. So it's a talus. Okay, and it's the other same word for dice, actually. So a talus is singular, plural would be tali, and it's knuckle bones. So you take a pig's knuckle, and there's usually 4 sides on it, and you mark it on the 4 sides. And then they would use a cylindrical box. So essentially, like, here you go. This would be a fritillus, okay? And I have no words for you in that, but that's what that is. It's a dice box, okay? And then you'd throw them, and you'd play essentially dice, and they're numbered 1, 3, 4, and 6. It's kind of interesting how the Romans conceived of numbers and stuff like that. So if you got the best throw, it would be if you got 1 number of each one, and that's called the Venus throw. Okay, so you'd shout out Venere, right? Venus. If you got all ones, that was considered the worst throw, and that was called canis. Oh, dogs, which used to be a curse, like, oh, dogs. And then if you did another poor throw called senio, that's a combination that has any 6s in there. So you don't want 6s unless it's a 1, 3, 4, and 6. So they would decide who the arbiter bibendi was based on who got the best rolls, or they'd go until somebody got the Venus roll, and then that person would decide how many measures of water to merum they would use, okay? And they would use a kiatus. Kiatus, kiati. This is clearly a Greek word because it's got a th and it's got a y in it. But kiatus is a small ladle, like kind of like what you'd see at a salad bar for the dressing or a salsa bar for the salsa. And then, of course, they would say, bene tibi, good to you. Here's to your good health. That's how you'd say cheers. So that's that page. In the next video, I'll give you the other vocab from the next page. All right, I'm going to hit the button.